Welcome back to another freaking Let's Play with me, your host, Dillird Q. Thurman. Man, it's another day, it's another chance.
Another chance to be smeared online and cannibalized by phony online clown chasers who seek to exploit difficult situations in people's lives and broadcast lies in order to hurt them, knowingly for the sick high satisfaction it gives them by turning friends against their target for clicks, likes, and clout for a small audience of internet hearts who love drama and drama hags.
It's another chance to get it right. Another chance to grab the bull by its horns and ride it all the way to victory. And so on. So let's get right into it, shall we? All right. Let's get right back into it. EXANIMA heads begin. So it looks like I am able to continue. So that's pretty cool. Right back into the action. That's all the stuff that I have. New entry. Whatever. Continue. Alright. I got my tea here. I'm gonna continue doing this. I'll just make this sort of a regular thing. I'd like a loading screen so I know that my computer didn't crash. Oh. So yeah, I guess the last thing that we I guess I want to run away. I don't like this. Okay, well that guy can see, but I can't see. You have been defeated. Maybe I will start over. Just cause, like, where the frick am I? I just respawn, or my body reanimates right where I left off. I can't see a gall darn thing here. Okay, go to inventory. Put this in there. Okay, I need a weapon. I assume that guy is right behind me. Oh, there's another fella. Okay, let's get away from you. I assume that the last guy that just killed me, literally just killed me, is over here. Or was that him? At any rate, oh, he's running after me. So, oh, and it's a dead end. No, it's not. But I gotta run. Jeez, I'm freaking. And just like that, I'm dead. You have died. Okay, so I have not been defeated. I have been dieded. Well, okay, so let's start a new game. Maybe I'll just cut it there. Alright, let's get back into it. I think I'm gonna start here, actually. I got my tea. Okay, so what happened was I basically started over because it spawned me right where I left off in the last game. So I might just go ahead and clip out these beginning scenes and better position myself for success in the future. But now I've got all this down. I know what to do here. Walk over here, get the, the shield. Which I guess they have been using as a barrel cover? The shield? I don't know. What I need to do is get better at the combat. I know that. Open all the way, please. Thank you. Alright, so right now I'll find a plank of wood as a weapon. I don't think there's any sort of strategizing I have to do with like this area or anything. As far as like setting up traps or something. I'm gonna put this bludgeoning. Okay, no. Okay, I'm gonna take the shield off and equipped the. This is what I sort of figured out last time. I could have both these things in my hands. One each in either hand. Okay, I figured that this was not. I don't know how to rotate the camera. I'd like to know how to rotate the camera. But for now, I'm just gonna. I want to meet my first foe and get a 1 kill. I guess when you slam the doors, it comes back, just like in real life. Oh, okay. So here's my first. You know what? Frick it. How to rotate camera. Run, sprint, orbit camera, mouse. Oh, that doesn't orbit camera, that just zooms in. The mouse 3. Okay, so that's it. There's no continue. So let's I can walk. It is a zombie, so we're gonna assume we know that it's not a good guy. Okay. So I do have. Oh, come on, dude. As you can see, I'm not very. Once you get stuck on a thing, and you don't have the controls very well, it is difficult. Okay. Okay, so I did hit him. It's really hard to kill him with the with a stick. Oh, get over there, hit him. Okay, so it is pretty. Okay. No, hit down. Yay! Okay, so he is dead, correct? This I want to throw on the floor. I want to pick up his axe. I would do a, I would save at this point if I had the option to. Can I search his body? But there is no option. Okay, so I'm sure that my health is no good, but it does regain slowly. Alright. So this is my online video game venture. I like this game a lot so far. I haven't played games. Last game that I played was Half-Life 2, all the way through. Classic. There's some race mixing in it. What are you gonna do? You got a problem with that? You got a problem with that? I got a problem with that? I don't care. It doesn't matter. As it turns out, when you go on the internet and you be a racism, when you do a racism and you do like a, you speak the truth or what you consider, because like I grew up in Massachusetts and I spent a lot of time in areas like the Berkshires and like East Hampton. Spent a lot of time in East Hampton, Northampton, Amherst area. What they call the 5 college area. Very liberal. Every campus has its own Jewish cultural center. There's no, you know, and everything is just anti-white. Anti-white. What is this? I think if you put it in your inventory, you can then examine it. This, I guess I cannot put in my inventory. I can put it here. So when I started becoming aware and awakened to the reality of, oh, there's a buddy. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to stop talking and concentrate on murdering the zombie. Oh, come on, that should have hit. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so I'm getting... Oh, crap. No, hit him! You have to time your, like, swinging. And just, you hold down the mouse. Okay, he keeps blocking it. He's close enough to be slashed. Alright, he's got a man bun, so he should die. In a just world. Was that the weapon that he was using? Just looks like a stick. What I keep forgetting is that there's jab, too. Alright. So yeah, I was basically ostracized by a person. Ostracized by the community when I started coming into this, you know, becoming a more online person, which breeds its own sort of mental illness. Just take a look. Just take a look around you. So I'm just gonna kill everything that moves. Nice. Okay, so I'm getting better. Okay, you wanna not... Okay, too close. Okay. there. Should have had that zoomed in. A candelabra. A labra that is also a candle. Are you kidding me? That's what he was fighting me with? So this is like a deserted, abandoned area. Dungeon. Where the undead roam. And they just pick up, and I guess they just do battle with anything else that like is alive or has a soul that isn't like a soulless body. I have like a wound on my head. So yeah, so I'm pretty used to being ostracized by like real life people and embraced by like an internet crowd. And I started doing comedy with like a guy who was also like an impoverished white guy who didn't go to college because fuck that shit. I mean F that. Frick that stuff. And we wanted to do comedy. I always wanted to do comics and do comedy. Like I'll consider the comics my craft. Okay, we got another buddy. We got a buddy. Zoom in. Go into combat mode. When you go into combat mode, they are like alerted to your combat mode. Okay, so this guy's got a big sword. So I want to kill him real quick like. Come on, that should have landed. Oof. Okay, I just went right into his, he's got a big iron rod. A rod of iron. I've been defeated. I think you can get defeated 3 times. And then you're right back into the action. So yeah, I don't know, I guess, so I spent like a good time doing comedy with this guy. People really liked our comedy. We were the Clive Owen comedy duo. Matt Woodland. I don't really give a fuck about using his name because he's kind of a piece of shit. He's not the first piece of shit that I ever met, but he's the one that really cut deep because we were like best friends. I got him. He was like an alcoholic and he couldn't hold down a job very well, so he started holding down a job, but he had a real problem with alcohol. And me being impoverished and addicted to marijuana, I actually did have a job, but I had to ride my bike there on the bike path. Thankfully, I was like on the bike path. Oh, so as soon as I get up, this guy like has the upper hand, and I don't. You have died. Yep. All right, I'll cut it here. Okay, so I had to restart. Starting over again. That's what you do. In this game, you go as far as you can. But anyway, to end my my rant from earlier, I had that guy move in with me, and he would just basically just like eat all my food. He would like ride my bike to his job, flatten the tires. Never asked permission to do it. And what I realized was that, he would often say, he would reveal kind of that he was jealous of me in ways. But I was also jealous of him in ways because he was like extreme in a sense. He didn't really give a fuck. His motto was throw caution to the wind. And I was a very I'd grown up very socially awkward, and I had social anxiety throughout my entire life into high school. I never really took chances. I never felt out the boundaries that were, you know, available. I always just like played very cautious and like kept to myself and stuck to, you know, like-minded people from youth group. Okay, we got a buddy. And I remember this buddy. But you know, he really he didn't give a shit. He just threw himself out there, and I really appreciated that about him. And so I adopted that for myself. Started doing the same thing. So they're totally alerted once you go into combat mode. That was a good hit. Too close. Okay. You want... Okay. So good job, me. Anyway, we started a comedy duo called the Clive Owen Comedy Duo. And we went to the open mics. And that's when we really started, our friendship started, you know, improving. I had like a word processor that I would write the scripts out on. I would pretty much do like the narrative structure of the skit, knowing the confusion that the audience would have with like what the hell actually we were doing. I was inspired by mostly Kids in the Hall and even Tim and Eric at the time. And we were just going to throw ourselves at that and do that. But I wanted to go in more of a, you know, politically edgy, kind of right-wing, alt-right kind of way. And he just wanted people to like him. Like, that's it. And the people around us were very shit-libby. They were just, you know, trans rights and BLM. And everybody that went up at the open mic, they would obviously, they would just either, like, completely do their rendition of a popular comedian. Like, if you're black, you go up and you do a Dave Chappelle. Or, like, you know, if you're, like, one of these, oh, here comes a buddy. Oh, I gotta go into combat mode. Nice. Okay, back up now. People would do Norm Macdonald. Okay, I have my buttons screwed up. People would do like a Norm Macdonald. And like, they would just do the cadence and like literally just do an entire impression of Norm Macdonald. Or Jon Stewart type jokes. Or just Jon Stewart. Now, I'll admit that, you know, I think, you know, when you start doing like comedy or you come out and start doing that kind of stuff, you do like an impression of your favorite comedian. And growing up, you know, I had like varying different favorite comedians. Oh, come on, that should have landed. You bastard. You undead. Oh, okay, I'm dead now. That's it. He's gonna kill me with a candelabra? I won't have it. Yeah, this is the candelabra ghoul. Thankfully, he did have a candelabra and didn't do that much damage. But then later on, that guy with the long sword. But yeah, that was interesting to see. And it was just like, you know, before this, I moved to Los Angeles. And when you move to Los Angeles, you realize that everybody's trying to do something and everybody is super self-aware. Like in high school, I was the like only one super self-aware, and it just seemed like everybody was just off the cuff and just genuine and being themselves. And I had moments of that, but I was always just, you know, am I coming off wrong? And of course that goes back to, you know, my upbringing and my parents, especially my father, and all this kind of stuff that creates, you know, sets you up to be who you are. I don't want to fight this guy yet. Back off slowly. Maybe I should have closed the door. Oh, and he's gonna come after me anyways. Okay, go into combat mode. That should have hit him. Okay. I panicked. And I keep panicking. When you panic, you keep hitting the same button, the button. The same button. Oh, yes! Alright. I moitered him. think this is a good bludgeoning tool. Get rid of this shtick. Why did my... So, anyways, can I do both these? Oh, you can't do both of them. Maybe it has to do with the weight. You know, and I see a lot of people today like doing Sam Hyde impressions. Like even people that should know better. It's like you're just doing Sam Hyde. Stop laughing at your own joke. You know, but I feel as though I'm just, I don't know. I've thought so much and become so self-aware that I'm just not self-aware anymore. But I also like am immature in other. Oh, this looks like a port. Like this is a latrine area. I don't want to get too far into here. The miasma. The disease. Gonna give me leprosy. So anyways, you know, as like 26 rolled on, I got into Trump, and I was, you know, fresh and new. Okay, I gotta get out of the way to open that freaking door. And you know, I was awakening to a lot of things. As with like, I listened to a lot of Red Ice Radio and Henrik Palmgren. The freaking body's in the way, dude. Okay, so this is... I can open the door enough to get through. Or can I? Yes, I can. Come on. You know, you do like conspiracy theories and supernatural stuff and, you know, like mysteries and everything, and all coalesced and it all came together for me with the realization that it is an ethnic and racial battle between basically Aryans and Jews, and our entire history has been muddled and corrupted, and therefore our identity is, you know, and that's how they get away with this stuff. That's how they, like, we don't remember, and they get away with the degeneracy, and they get away with the, you know, integration of the different nations. You know, they merge the goyams. Anyway, so I became aware of all this. I wanted to do, and I wasn't like fully aware, and I stumbled and kind of felt my way into it. But I wanted to do more edgy stuff, and this guy just didn't want to. And so we would just kind of do our own separate thing, different stand-ups. I wish I had them all recorded. Some of the best ones I just don't have recordings of. And it's just like, almost, it's like, you know, what's the point of doing it if you're not recording it? Because then it's just lost to time. But I understand that people that are actually trying to, back in like 2015, 2014, people thought that they could be comedian. Like they could go on the road. You know, they could go to like comedy clubs in New York City and be Jerry Seinfeld or Dave Attell. That stuff doesn't that stuff doesn't exist anymore. You're just exploited. You're just setting yourself up to be exploited. And then, like, you know, it's obvious that what people want or what gets promoted is this, ooh, bludgeoning tools, maybe better, is just servicing like a narrative, the anti-white narrative, and to like do the best Jon Stewart anti-white joke. And then, so, you know, people started calling me, I started doing my own thing, people started calling me anti-Semite and homophobic and everything, and like I just embraced it. And so I kind of became notorious in a way. And people thought that I was more dangerous than I actually was. Because I wasn't real, because at this point, you know, I had shed most of my friends, and I didn't really talk to people very much. And so, you know, I just kind of felt out how I broke up with my then girlfriend, and you know, she was like, she was gonna be a social worker. She was into the whole gender studies stuff. Her sisters, of which she had like 6, were all variously gendered, and it was just like, you know, and they were, you know, half Jewish. She had a mulatto sister. So all this stuff. So you're surrounded by these types of people, and you're a jerk if you know, become a white supremacist, even though you don't call yourself that. You become racially aware, and you become red-pilled in this way, as if you're gonna go up to people and start, you know, assaulting them because of their skin. Anyway, so that was my first introduction to people casting a image or character onto you that is totally just not you. You want to be a Nazi? Okay, so you're a neo-Nazi, so people start literally envisioning you with a swastika neck tattoo or something. You know, something that you don't have. Or like, you know, like you're a part of a biker gang. You know, all that stuff is just attached to you now. Instead of just like, well, no, I have very good reasons for thinking all this stuff, and you know, you don't have the full picture, and I think that you've been lied to. And it's just like, oh, so, you know, this big conspiracy that it's not smart. Jesus. I hurt myself. I hurt my arm. It's not smart to go against the mainstream. You're setting yourself up for failure in the eyes of these people. But then you look at all the successful comedians and artists and everything, and they are exactly these types of people who go against. But it could be a kosher kind of, you know, existing within a cultural, kosher cultural sandwich of sorts, like Dave Chappelle doing like the whole tranny thing, doing sets on transsexuals. That's like intended to be a pressure release valve. He's not really going that far, and besides, he's black, so he can't really tell, you know, the truth about an anti-white system because he benefits from. Did I go all the way to the beginning? That's what I get for rambling. What I really wanted to, my whole point in like all this kind of stuff is the thing that I wanted to talk about while playing this video game. Turned into sort of a lecture, I guess. But like this guy that I did comedy with, you know, after all this stuff, after being friends, like through like thick and thin, like surviving with each other, you know, like pulling our resources and getting food and like having a good time and like, you know, basically doing like fish tank stuff on our own and like trashing our own apartment and everything. You know, letting loose, as you say. Okay. These controls are so wacky. I want to get into combat mode. Because this guy's hunting me now. He's on the hunt. He smells fresh blood. But so, I subletted my apartment when I was like 30. I was like 31 or 32 to this guy who's like 24. And, he'd go to the comedy center, the comedy club, or the it was a bar that had open mic night. That was the place to go and do comedy. And there was like a burgeoning comedy scene in Northampton, Massachusetts at that time. Probably still going on. I'm sure, you know, people maybe search me just to see what I'm up to, because I have had some controversies in the past very recently. Okay, that should have hit a... Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh! I tripped. A blunder. You blundering fool. Yes. Thank you. And now I get a sword. A sword. I was in a pop punk band in high school. Our name was the Swords. What the heck? Just silly. That's silly. Okay, I got this sword now. You just keep upgrading your weapons, I suppose. Where was I? So I rented to this guy, and he's like, wait a minute. So your name is Mark Villard? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I have heard that name before. Where'd I hear that name? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, and recently. So then he came back to me. He's like, I remembered where I heard that name. It was at the comedy club. Or it was at the Bishop's Lounge. And, yeah, a guy went up and he said your name. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, he was talking about, like, neo-Nazis and stuff. So, for clout, to endear himself to, like, the crowd or whatever and separate himself from me because I became notorious. Because I started shitposting on Facebook. With, like, you know, and started beefs with local comedians who would just do anti-white shit online. And it was social justice warrior stuff. It wasn't even comedy. Like, people would just be like, I like what he's saying. But he would just be rehashing a Jon Stewart bit. Only, like, you know, trading in, putting in, like, you know, copying the homework of Jon Stewart and making it look like them. Because that was the most successful anti-white bullshit back then. And people just followed that script or that, like, template. And, and he always wanted to revive Clive Owen. Because I did all the structuring and like the narrative and like, you know, like the narrative structure of the skits, and he peppered it with like jokes, and he was the funnier, like outrageous like comedian part. So we worked well together. We had good chemistry, but he had to separate himself from me because it was all about signaling and singling out people that, you know, would dare to go all the way with like the stuff. So like the open mic guy, comedian, he dated my ex-girlfriend, I think just to get just to like, because he like started fostering, he wanted to come over, we hung out a few times, and he, like, I remember now looking back, he would just look at me. When you think back to these people, or when I think back to these people, I'm like, what the hell was really going on? It's like they're studying you. They're like looking at you and like watching your movements, like checking out your stuff. They're like trying to figure you out. Part of it is to like destroy you, take you down in a very public way. I mean, that's always part of it, for sure. But another thing is, I think they want to know how you tick so that they can integrate, just like I did with Matt Woodland. Like, you know, I wasn't like envious, but like I appreciated and I honored, like, you know, like his ability to like be audacious, because that's what I always struggled with. I'm at the beginning again. This is what happens when I ramble. So like, you know, there's things about people, like even Sam Hyde. Like, I look at Sam Hyde, and he was lucky enough to, one, max out his credit cards and get a lot of Bitcoin, but also meet like-minded people who also who wanted to do the same thing, and they weren't afraid of going so far. I mean, you know, like Matt Woodland would do crazy stuff in public for comedy's sake. His other motto, in addition to throw caution to the wind, was, you know, I'd do anything for comedy. So, you know, he would be an asshole. He'd be seen temporarily as an asshole by like people you didn't know, by making a fool of himself. And I just, you know, I find it to be crass and everything, but like you know, sometimes I'd like to exercise that or whatever to like get more comfortable with it. If I do have like an actual really good idea that required such a thing. But anyways, my point being, jeez, I don't know what the frick my point is anymore. My point is that I don't understand how you can get to know somebody, be really close friends with them, and then publicly like disown them, like mock them, smear them, create and feed into this characterization of them that is not them, and that you know is not them. I don't understand. Even like my worst enemies, it's still difficult to be like cruel in that way. Okay, I was in here. I think this is the way I want to go. So I don't understand that ability to dehumanize another person like that. Especially, you know, and like I'll say it again, especially someone who you've known. But it's almost as if, you know, you can only hate someone enough to really dehumanize them and justify attempting to destroy their life, their reputation, their ability to make money. And that's all SJWism is. Because that's when I fully became awake, or not fully awake, but like awake enough. And I started looking at these people, because I've had other instances too where, you know, I told a guy who I lived in the same apartment with about like the Holocaust and questioning the Holocaust, and his eyes got black. He stepped towards me and he put his hand on my shoulder. And then later I was like, what the fuck was that? And then of course he like attacked me. And always their forms of attack are always effeminate, and I would say Jewish, in that they're not direct attacks. They don't just go up to you and be like, I have a fucking problem with you. Because if you go up to someone and say, I have a fucking problem with you, and then you fight or something, that's just honest and direct. aggressive. Dishonest, like little twerps, weasels, like assholes, like these clowns. They have to go up to you and they have to start a fight, and then posture afterwards as if you started that fight. He came after me. He attacked me. That's very effeminate. Like, I'd expect that from females, like toxic females, which, don't get me wrong, I hate them as much as anyone else, because what's more Jewish than a toxic female? A Jew, yes, but like they've created such a culture in which that they inspire and incentivize, you know, this sort of victim stuff. And then when you say like, no, actually this is what happened, oh, now you're playing the victim. You hate playing the victim, and yet you're playing the victim. Like, oh my god, you people are obnoxious assholes, and you know what you're doing. The other thing that I wanted to tie that to was Trump, because Trump is obviously like, you know, a ego inflating narcissist, but he was like our narcissist, so he used all these dirty tactics against the enemy. And you know, I've seen this before. It's like, oh, well, that just makes you, as bad as the Jews. And it's just like, well, it's kind of fifth generational warfare at this point. You have to kind of use whatever tools that, you know, at your disposal. But you know, we're not the innovators of that. It's kind of a reactionary adaptation to the reality on the ground. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. Maybe I'm supposed to go this way. You know, so people are going to do it to you, and it's easy to glom onto and use as leverage, like the mainstream, because like the culture now is a witch hunt. You know, that term's kind of overused, but like it's just a horizontal witch hunt. People go against, oh my gosh. Here, let's run away from this guy, go into combat mode, zoom in, turn around. Okay. Okay. That should have been a death. I mean, they're undead. Back up. Other way. Nice. I'm getting good at this combat stuff. So using a piece of wood, so it didn't slice into me as bad. So people use as leverage, like the mainstream, like, he's racist. You know, they don't care that they're hypocrites. They don't care that they've like indulged in the same kind of stuff. Like, people today, they're just principleless and like ego-centered and self-gratifying with this kind of stuff. People get their dopamine from destroying people in the public space. And that's exactly what Matt Woodland did. And something I'll just sort of never forget. And I think back to the people that have done really bad, like literally the same things to me. And I'll miss them. I'll miss like them as people. I give people so many chances because, you know, I am kind of, you know, I'm a human being. I get lonely. You know, I have like fond memories of like times, but then you have to remember like the most egregious things that these people did to you. And then, like, you know, I've even like gone up to him and be like, hey man, what's going on? And then him look at me like weird, like, and all of a sudden, like, you know, kind of jump back. Obviously, like he's categorized me as enemy in his mind, and so therefore he's being confronted by an enemy. And you know, that once people write this narrative, or it's a narrative of things that you've done that they've decided that you did, and they're lies, so they have to like convince themselves of it and act. That involves them acting as if it was true. Everyone's an actor. And then just projecting this character onto you that is just not you. So if you deceive that notion of that they've constructed of you in person right there and then, and they're confronting you, you know, first off, they look around to see if there's an audience. And if there's no audience and they're not trying to get one over on you, and like the most egregious, like sort of sociopaths are the ones that are going to like go right up to you and be like, fuck you. Fuck you. That's the guy that I lived in the building. He was a school teacher, the one with like the Holocaust thing. He was the first like After I had an encounter with him, that was when I looked up narcissism. Or I looked up, like, what the heck is this? And then, like, like, that's gaslighting. I'm like, okay, that perfectly, exactly describes what this guy was doing to me. In Los Angeles, I had a nervous breakdown, and then I got the hell away because I think I was afraid of conflict. I couldn't deal with conflict. And so, that has sort of retarded my social progress and all this kind of stuff. My development, my adulting, having to deal with, like, conflict or whatever. And I think Matt Woodland sort of acted as a guard for me. Even though, and part of it was that, like, he'd throw me, like, in front of he'd just throw me out. I would, like, something that happened just between him and me, and this is a kind of, I don't know what you call this. Like, something in private, and then he just exposes it in front of people that he's trying to impress. But he's doing so in a way that's putting me down. Some people don't know how to make jokes without putting someone else down. Or, like, they have to elevate themselves. They're geared that way. They're programmed that way, I guess. To elevate themselves by putting others down. They have to have, like, a foil at all times. So I was kind of his foil, but I would, like, parry and, like, make jokes and stuff. We got another bunny. So they sense that you go into combat mode. I'm going to try a longer bludgeon. Because we have... Ooh. Can't do that. Okay, so I still want the... Excuse me. Still getting over this cough. I don't know how I'm gonna keep this eye. But yeah, they need a foil. But I would I would defend myself. This is sort of all interactions, and I'd prove myself to be funny. People would expect you to be one way, especially in Los Angeles. Like, you go to Los Angeles, and everyone's supposed to be like a being, an aspiring actor or even comedian or something. And I was just there to draw comics. So people were just like, what? Why are you even here? But in Los Angeles, I really came into myself and I stopped being so socially anxious. I inevitably had a nervous breakdown. It is what it is. Okay, that should have killed him. And then I moved to Northampton. Nice. So I hope you were planning on hearing my entire life story. But I don't understand how Matt Woodland can do that to me. I would even, like, contact him over the years and be like, hey man, you still have that bit? Can I get that bit? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he would just ghost me after that. Because these people, they decide that you're bad for their image, or that, like, it's advantageous to them to throw you under the bus, and then they just don't look back. I don't understand. I don't understand how someone can go all the way with that. So far as to, like, even cast you as, like, doing things illegal. And it's just like, or like, turning everybody against you, even like family members and stuff. Like, to me, that's despicable. So I couldn't do that, and I'd feel bad about doing that. And this is gonna come to the end here, because I really only meant to do 20 minutes of this. Whoa, cool. Can't open that. But I got really into this game. I just got all into telling my stories. So yeah, he went up on stage. He referenced me because I became sort of a infamous character in those circles. By name. Like, when people reference you by name. Mark Villard, bad person. It's like, what do you get out of that? Like you're kind of harvesting my name. Okay, how do I back up here? Okay. I want to go this way. This way. Okay. Okay, I got too far. I got too close to him. Because you've sort of, you know, you've audaciously, I guess. Oh man, that went right through my skull. Let's see if I can't recover from this. I don't see how, because I have to quickly pick up the. Oh, okay. He's not completely. Do I see his shadow? No, that's me. That's me right there. I don't know how to explain it in other in other terms except for social cannibalism and social vampirism. It's narcissist. They want your energy and they want your attention. It might be a jealousy thing, although I hear that from like the most despicable people. You're jealous. It's like, what are you talking about? Jealous of what? Like you're projecting. Okay. Oh, okay. Come on. Better equip something quick. I want this. Combat. Okay, I want the long bludgeoning. Come on. Ah, fucker. That's it. That's the end of this one. I don't know what my parting words would be. Exit. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.